We're back in the high country of Colorado, about 8,500 feet. Gonna be working on a road today. If you watched the last episode, you might have caught a glimpse of me in a large track loader with a dozer blade on it. Please don't judge. But in this episode, we've got a new guy that is confident he can teach me to redo this road the way the owner wants it. Let's get started. Now, Mike thought he understood what the owner wanted, so he did that the other day. It was done before we ever got here. Basically cut to grade here, all the way up there. Well, it turns out the owner wanted a ditch on this side of the road over here. So we're gonna try to put a ditch on this side of the road and take the soil from that and put on the road. Yeah, I mean, that's gonna have loose soil there. We're gonna have to pack it down too. But the idea is to have a ditch on the uphill side for drainage purposes, and then to build up the road a little bit and maybe have a little bit more aggressive crown in the middle of it. That's gonna be a lot of dirt to move. But the big deal is, yeah, Mike says that he can teach me to operate that thing. It's fully GPS. He took measurements every 15 feet, just points in the middle of the road, and then he built a contour. I'd call it a two-dimensional contour. He called it a vertical slice or vertical elevation to show the 2 degrees crown on the road and then a ditch on each side. He's experimenting a little bit just to make sure that he's got good advice for me. Mike, you're telling me that you can train me to operate this thing?
Yeah, I can get you there.
You didn't see me in my first attempts. You can see some of the results of it there.
Yeah.
But are you sure?
Oh yeah. That's what I do for a living, man. There's a lot of people that have never touched any type of grade control out there, and within a few days of running it and some instruction, they're...
Yeah, Mike works for Four Rivers Equipment, and as we mentioned in the last episode, they invited us out here to see just this totally different terrain. We don't see anything like this in Indiana.
Oh yeah, I'm from Michigan, so I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, why did you leave Michigan? Hold it, I know the answer to that.
Yeah, if you just pan around, you'll know.
I don't have to ask anymore. This
Exactly.
is absolutely beautiful, absolutely stunning. Okay, what do we do?
Let me give you the quick and dirty on the run
It's
through.
very visible, I get that.
And so what you've got here, you've got your plan view, shows you what side of the road you're on. This is the one that's going to be critical as you're driving.
Well, that's that triangle.
We're working from uphill to downhill is the easiest way to move the dirt.
Okay.
Right, so we know we got to take some more material out here to make our ditch. So if you get over there and you dip that, you move your triangle over. So if you tap it, it'll actually quickly move it to
left, middle, and right.
Left, middle, and right. So left corner, that side.
Yeah.
Hit it again, it'll jump to right. And usually you're gonna, on a project like this, you'll be working either your right or left corner, because that's the way the machine sits on the road, right? As far as this, you're gonna start on the uphill side for an aggressive cut like this. And then we may have to bump our actual design surface up.
Raise it up so we'll make 2 passes vertically.
Exactly.
So the first we'll try taking it horizontally, 3 or 4 inches at a time.
Yep.
And if that works, that's fine. But if not, we'll have to raise it vertically and then still probably do the horizontal.
And yeah, we'll still have to bump it over. So we'll just kind of chew away at it and kind of windrow the material to the middle of the road.
Okay.
And then eventually we'll probably push it off to the left side of the road.
Now, will it angle the blade, or angle the blade for me?
You got to manually control that, which is going to be
which is this?
The sum roller.
But it doesn't work.
But as far as like your cross slope and your elevation, it'll control that.
Okay. And I probably should just have the blade all the way angled for what we're talking about.
Yes, it works way better when the blade's angled. Right where the edge of our right side of the blade, the way we look at it, right side of the blade, there's a grade transition there where he's going from the road grade to the ditch grade, which is quite a bit steeper. He was trying to cut into that ditch grade, it looked like, but it's a pretty aggressive slope, so he may have to make a few passes at it to get down to where he wants to be. So you can see that blade is angled. The computer took over and angled the blade for him there. And now it's trying to get down to our design grade.
We're course, now he's into that hole that he just made.
That is where it gets tricky. You got to be consistent with it.
You may have to bail him out.
I may have to. That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right. Not everybody gets it their first time. And he's, to be quite honest, he's actually trying to do quite a difficult design right there with that. It's a really short V-ditch, and it can be really tricky especially for somebody that's new to this, to go in there and just grade out a really tight V-ditch like that. And because there's so little room for him to steer into, for the computer to follow that small grade.
Okay.
If he gets outside of that, the machine's just going to say, I don't know what to do now. So it is something that, you know, he's actually going pretty good right now, but it's something that takes a little practice. I never expect anybody to just jump in and get it, but
Sure.
but you know, it's a helpful tool, and especially for somebody that doesn't have a lot of operator experience. Now manually push that blade down a little bit. A little more. There you go.
See, it's trying to pick it back up. Why is it trying to pick it back up when it says it needs to go down 6/10 to even be 5/10 close? I don't understand.
I'm not quite sure. I might have to hop in real quick and just see what it's doing.
I hate to say I had just resorted to manual to make it dig there. At least I was getting what looked like a ditch in manual.
I think we were just too far out of our window for grade. It's tough because you want to find a sweet spot where you can grade and not cut too much material where it causes you to get out, you know, push the blade up where it gets out of that 4/10 window, because then you just keep chasing it. The other thing too I notice is we're getting really close to our out of bounds. That having that cutting edge like that, it kind of pulls the machine out. So as soon as you jump out of it, it's going to kick out of autos. It might take a few attempts to get a good pass going, especially with that aggressive of a grade. The other thing too is it's maxed out on its cross slope right now. So until we get a couple passes down where the machine track can fall into it as well, we're going to be having a hard time to get to that 30%.
Oh, so maybe it's having trouble tilting down that way enough.
I think it might be fighting itself a little bit. So one thing we may have to do is just manually cut it out a little bit.
That's what I did right back here. I was like, I'm just going to go manual for a little bit. Maybe I can get closer. But I see your point.
And you can use this as a guide still, even with outside of autos.
Yeah.
You know, you turn autos off. And
it's still telling me I need to go down 1/4 foot or
Yep.
whatever. And I've got the left to right measurement there too.
Exactly.
Finish the rest of this pass like that. And,
Okay.
and I want to watch that.
So, okay. Right now I'm just manually grading, and I'm just kind of following the light bars on the side. The one thing you're going to have trouble with is if you get too much of a wave going, you're going to have to correct it up and down. Never be afraid to stop and back up and correct yourself too. I mean,
Okay.
some people get hung up on, well, it's not turning out great the first time. It's probably not going to. The first, especially a raw cut like this.
So you're just doing it manual now?
Yep. And now we're out of design. So I'm going to back up one time and try it in autos and see how much closer it is.
So you're trying to get 2/10 of a foot over grade?
Yep, over our survey, yep. So I come into it and we're actually cutting a little below grade, but we're actually not too far off. These tight little V ditches, they're a common design in construction or, you know, site development, but they're really hard to grade. This makes it easier, but it's a pretty advanced grading technique.
So you're beginning to get the machine sloped here a little bit.
Exactly, we're starting to work it in the right direction, which is good. And it's okay if we overcut a little bit, because we'll have plenty of material to fill back in when we get it all said and done. So this is where a little experience comes into play, is running a dozer.
So you're just digging it out manually here for a little bit?
Yep.
I think that makes perfect sense until we get closer to grade. I see the point.
You can see our
Yep, now you're getting close on that grade.
Yep, the more material we push up on that left side, we'll be better off, so.
Some of the challenge I was seeing initially was because I didn't spend enough time really understanding what the different numbers are on the screen. I can change the desired elevation, the temporary elevation, but then there was another number that says what my blade is, how far off it is. Well, I think that it's just hard for me to understand whether that was to the original elevation or to my modified elevation. It takes some time, it takes some thinking. Nobody's gonna learn this in 10 minutes. But I still think I can learn it. Mike, I think our contours may be wrong. We may not want 25 degrees.
Yeah.
And we may want the whole road wider, because if we do, I mean, you know, if we do 15 degrees or something, we're going to lose a lot of the center of the road, right?
Right. Yeah, pretty easy adjustment we can make here in the field. So,
okay,
let's do that. Let's try that.
Okay.
See if that gets us a little better result.
Okay. How about if I keep digging with what we've got here?
Do it up.
Go modify that.
Do it up.
So I'm just working on the level part of the road right now, and it's actually maintaining the grade that I'm asking for. So this is only the 2% grade. So I thought I would get some of this extra out of the road first. And now it's going nuts. It's because it says it needs to go down half a foot. I'm manually digging in there. It's so deep. I can see the line where I need to go. So the visualization dramatically helps me, given that, you know, I got so much other stuff to focus on than just the grade I'm trying to get. But he suggested that I dig manually for a while here. And then when I get closer to grade, I can switch it on auto. Whoops, wrong way. Okay, here I go. I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna switch it to auto. And then I'm gonna come in slowly. Now I'm kind of in the middle of the roadway. Again, just trying to get some of this extra out of here. I'm getting over right at the edge of the roadway with the right of my blade now. If it goes berserk, it's because I'm going off into the ditch a little bit. This is actually making sense. I like. Oh, yep, I went over that vertical line there. He told me about that. So he said don't be scared to back up, so I'm gonna back up and catch that again. I'm still in auto mode. Get as close as I can to the vertical line to the right here without going over. Okay, and then I'm gonna push that out here. And I'm gonna go to manual and raise it up a little bit. Now, I'm going to try to begin, I'm not there yet, but I'm going to try to begin to dig in to some of the ditch here. And again, I'm doing this manually because this is going to be deep here. This is fabulous, just showing me where I want the road to be. Even if it didn't do any digging for me, would already be fabulous. Yeah, even if it didn't control the depth, just seeing where I'm supposed to be is an amazing help. I've only got a 2-foot range here for this ditch bank. Okay, Mike is here.
It's looking more like a ditch all the time.
I'm beginning to get onto it.
So let's try this design.
Okay, because I think that's going to help. Let's try. What do
So
we
I
have to do?
widened the ditch and I decreased the slope
Okay.
to better accommodate our machine, and also I think it'll better accommodate the actual design we're going for. So
yeah, the desire.
let's plug this in. Did a couple changes real quick on our data collector, and then we're just going to import the new surface. And there it is, road with ditch new. So we'll import that. And we're going to change it to the active surface. So it's still on the old one. So there it is. It's going to change the look of our screen here. Now look at that.
Now look at that.
So we got the outside slope, or the uphill slope. We also have the downhill slope on that side of the road. And you got a lot more room to work with here too. So start getting really nice.
So how do you actually get the bottom of that ditch clean?
You have to get close to it. I don't think, unless you're in like an excavator or a motor grader, you're going to get close enough to actually get at the very bottom of the ditch.
Okay.
This machine, maybe not the best suited for really tight defined grading. This is more of a rough cut slash place on grade and get it close. And it's going to do a nice job for most projects, but
Okay.
But I'm curious to see how it goes now.
Yeah,
with this
I
new
think
design.
that'll be good.
So let's try her. There you go. There you go. Now take it real easy till you get it smoothed out for about a machine length, and then it'll start going really smooth on you.
Beautiful. It is right on grade.
So that's a little better, isn't it?
Yes, it's working.
He's grabbing some material at the start of his pass, which actually helps smooth out the grade control system to have some material on the blade. So that's actually something I didn't even tell him. So that's a good move. And then when he gets down into the spot where it's actually close to grade, he'll have enough material in the blade to kind of fill in the holes he had and make a better finished pass. I'm impressed, to be honest with you. These little ditches can be the bane of many operators. So,
Okay, I'm trying to drive along right on the outside ditch line here. And if I get just beyond that horizontal, the blade will try to tip the other way. So that's what you see when you see it going crazy. But other than that, I'm a foot and I'm 15/10 of a foot above the desired grade. Oh, there it went. It's okay, so I'm gonna back up here. I'm gonna lower it back down. Say automatic. I'm gonna go back down that. So now this should be the final grade here.
see, he's not been in this machine maybe an hour. He's actually getting pretty close to grade. That's looking pretty good right there.
Yeah, that's the final grade.
Nice. So I was thinking, one thing that can help you kind of get closer to that bottom of the ditch without fighting the grade transition too much, you can actually push and hold your finger on that blade. See how it says move control? If you hit that, it will actually move the triangle slightly inside. So then you can actually line your edge up closer to the bottom of the ditch without putting your grade reference right on the bottom.
Okay, so now I could actually dig beyond the bottom a little bit and it's not going to go crazy. Hey, that's perfect.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that earlier. I'm like,
he tells me that after all this time. Yeah.
I wanted to see a struggle first.
I'll be able to move a lot faster now with that change. Because I had that arrow right on the edge, and if I went across it, it just did a horrible job. It's taken more than 10 minutes, Mike, but I think you have taught me.
Hey, for just over an hour, I think we're doing pretty good. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, if you look behind you, it's looking really nice.
Okay.
That's something we can work with there.
So is he doing that manually, or is he letting the machine?
He's in grade control because he keeps taking his hand off the right joystick.
Okay.
So he's probably, what happens when you're running into this like native soil,
Okay.
you hit roots and rocks, and the material's really compacted, so it'll actually stop the machine. And if you try and push through it, it'll just keep driving the blade down, and the hydraulics fight it.
Okay.
And you'll end up with a kind of a jerky response from the grade control system.
Huh.
So he's probably having to manually pull it back once in a while to get it back close to grade.
Okay.
I must say the learning curve is largely complete. I get it. And I get not only the technical details of how it's actually working, at some level of detail, but I'm also getting how I would actually use it in practice here. I'm afraid they created a monster, Christy.
I'm afraid so too.
So I took the outside edge off, and so that's created another pile in here in what I had already graded. So this is all loose dirt that I'm grading here now, but it's a big pile, so it's really all we want to move. I keep raising it up, take less and less of it. Maybe I should just push it out here. For me, it's a lot to learn in one day. Having really no dozer experience at all, I've got a lot of dozer basics that I need to learn and better understand. Just about the mechanics of how much I can push and which directions I can push effectively, all of that kind of thing. Oops, I could lower that now. Let me go back. So adding to that, the laser control, but I really shouldn't say adding to that, because I think the laser control is taking away most of the learning that I would normally have to do. Having the experience of how to deal with these larger piles, that's all new to me. I have really no idea how much I can push. Now it did that movement itself, so I don't know. But yeah, that was accurate, I guess. So I'm going to move some of this big pile out in the middle here and move it over. Better go up a little bit more. We may want more of that. So again, when I say I needed to go up, it's relative up. I'm telling it to go 1/4 of a foot, 3 inches above the pre-specified grade. And it's maintaining that. It's interesting, I had the bottom of this ditch graded pretty much where I wanted it. And then when I came through and pushed all the stuff in from the uphill side, it's made doing it again more difficult than I thought it would. I thought I would just run right back through there with the blade angled like this and get that loose dirt out of there. But the loose dirt's pushed harder than I expected. So that's my scenario there. Is it beginning to look like a road yet? What do you think? Still big hump there in the middle, but I'm going along here with the automatic grading set on. The only decision I have to make is how much extra dirt do we have here? So how much do we raise the final road above, the expected grade when we started? Because that's the objective here, is to spread out all this dirt that we dug out from the ditch up here on the whole road.
It's getting late in the day, so the guys are trying to get this done before nightfall. And tomorrow up here, it's going to be windy. And then the forecast is for 8 to 12 inches of snow. And this is interesting looking rock to me. It looks more like dirt.
I think Ryan, the property owner, must have decided it's good enough. I'm not quite satisfied with this, so, well, it may not matter what I think.
This is 3/4 inch road base. So what we're doing now, the rough work is done. Now we're just spreading dirt mixed, clay and dirt mixed with 3/4 inch rock to make a road base. And then we'll bring in actual rock, like the gray rock down below, over the top of this when the road base is done. So we'll do it in 3 layers. The actual dirt and soil we're doing above, then this road base, then we'll bring in rock on the top.
Why do you need that here?
The way the moisture hits here, it's almost all in the winter. We get no rain. So to hold the ground, they've just found if they do it in this sequence, that the road will stay for years. We don't re-gravel every couple of years at all. The main road coming into here is a 7-year-old road. We haven't added anything to it.
Oh, wow. And so since you don't have too much rain, you've put a ditch in it, but do you not get torrential rains?
Never.
Okay.
So last night's rain was about 15 hundredths of rain, and that's a good average rain here. We only get 10 inches of moisture a year, and 8 to 9 of that will come as snow in the winter. So what we get in the summer is 10 hundredths, 20 hundredths.
Okay.
It's not a quantity. No, if we get a torrential rain, it'd be a 3/4 inch.
Okay.
It wouldn't be a 3 inch. The ditch is for erosion control, long term if something happened or flooding, but up here on this top hill, you wouldn't even need a road ditch. The wind will blow the soil off before anything else happens. He's on grade control now, so what he did after the road was built, he set it for 2.5 inches of road base. So now it's gonna lay 2.5 inches deep. In other words, lift his machine 2.5 inches. So the RTK accuracy he's using on the tower is sub-inch. So it knows if you're left, right, up, or down within 1 inch.
Wow.
So if he drops below an inch or above an inch, it knows you've moved an inch, even in elevation. That's the level of accuracy that he's using to make sure that road comes out right.
That's amazing.
And then it's mapping it as well as it goes. So when we get done, he'll have a map of exactly what was laid, what height it was done, and everything.
Now, how do you guys maintain your roads out here? Do you have to go back through with a box blade,
Yeah.
land plane?
Yep, I'll use a box blade with some tilt and trim so I can keep the crown on the road. And we'll go through it about once a year with the road. After we get a nice rain, if we get a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch of rain, to soften it up, we'll go through with a box blade and get the washboards out and
Okay, with
trim
scar
it up.
fires then?
No,
No?
we'll wait for a rain so it's soft enough that we can just do it with the box
don't
blade.
need it. Okay.
If we get that rain Friday through Saturday like they're talking, I wouldn't be afraid to come in here Monday in a 2-wheel drive car.
Oh, wow.
That 16 inches will be gone in days because the ground temperature is warm.
Okay. See that?
Again, our ground doesn't freeze.
Right, right.
It gets insulated by the snow, so this ground will be nice and warm.
Well, it was getting later in the evening, so I turned it back over to the Pro, but I am stunned with the quality of work that can be done with this and how simple it is to operate. I got onto it and felt like I fully understood it. Of course, there's some aspects that I'm never going to do as good as a Pro. Well, unless I practice a lot. But really, really amazing. I love this machine. I can't afford one. I'm not even going to ask Christy for one of these.
Thank you.
I've got more sense than that. This is the last project on the mountain here in Colorado. We may have another Colorado project, but it won't be up here at 8,500 feet. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Yeah, I know there's some of you saying, what's that skid steer doing or track loader doing on your channel? You don't do those. I know. I don't do those. But it was a lot of fun for a change. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim. When you cry out for help, let your collection of idols save you. The wind will carry all of them off. A mere breath will blow them away. But whoever takes refuge in me will inherit the land and possess my holy mountain. And it will be said, build up, prepare the road, remove the obstacles out of the way of my people.
That is amazing.
That's like a hand shovel, Christy.
Yeah.
I would expect it to have to use a garden rake to have got that last little bit, but unbelievable.
Amazing.
And all that, and he's eating a piece of pork while he's doing it. Mike, it's been wonderful to meet you.
It has been. I got some pork on my hand.
I don't care.
You as well,
I've
Tim.
really enjoyed it.